Ray's world, Patrick Ray starts to take.
Ray, it's your boy Jake, the Snake, the gluten-free Karis, and today I'm gonna talk about your team. Hey, alright, let's go ahead and pull up your squad. Boom. Raymond, you made an entire team's worth of rookie picks. And you've got some good ones. I really like some of the players that you picked, and I especially love the values that you got at running back. I think your Tyler Algier pick, your James Cook pick were amazing values where you got them in the draft. So well done with your rookie draft. I really liked what you did. Didn't love some of the receivers that you took. I feel like there were potentially better values still left on the board. I like Brian Robinson over Justin Ross, or Justin Ross over Brian Robinson was a confusing one for me. But you know, I think in those later rounds, I think you just grabbed running backs, and I'll explain to you why. Now, let's make it a little bit bigger. Great. So let's go ahead and jump into your roster. Straight up, we both know it can't compete. You've got your starting line is basically Pickett and Mahomes. Your running backs are, you got the big dog, the big hog, Najee, the dodgy Najee, and Kenneth Walker. James Cook and Tyler Algier are backing them up. May or may not be a thing. Tyler Algier may or may not ever get a starting role. James Cook may or may not ever score fantasy points. Your wide receivers, you've got Michael Thomas. Doesn't really fit your winning window because you're kind of already in a productive struggle. You've got CeeDee Lamb and Gabe Davis. Beyond those three, you got some dart throws here. I like Alec Pierce's situation. I like Tyquan Thornton's situation. I think those guys could potentially be good assets for you moving forwards. Khalil Shakir is going to be a dude that Khalil Shakir is going to be a guy that could get a role, but it's not going to be a slot receiver because every single penny that they paid Jamison Crowder is guaranteed. So I'm pretty sure he's got that job locked up. He's going to be fighting for time in those three wideout sets where Crowder's not going to be in because he doesn't really work the outside. And he's going to be competing for on spelling Gabe Davis every now and then. Now, guys like Velus Jones and Justin Ross, what to do with them in Dynasty? I'm a firm believer in once they flash, you sell them. And here's why. I'm going to go through the rest of your roster. I'm going to explain why the moment these two flash, you need to sell them. And if you got Velus in the third or in the fourth, if you can get him for get a third back for him, do it. And I think Velus is the kind of guy that could do that because his depth chart is garbage. There's no one really in front of him. Byron Pringle's the wideout 2 in Chicago. All right. And then Justin Ross is going to have a much harder time doing anything because he's got Juju, MVS, Mecole Hardman, and Sky Moore and Travis Kelce all taking targets ahead of him. And those four wide receivers I named all have actual roles and actual guaranteed money that they're getting. Whereas Justin Ross was an undrafted free agent. So it's going to be really tough. If he ever does anything, if he has a week that's where he kind of pops off 16, 17, 20 points, and it looks like 100 yards on 3 targets and a touchdown, or 100 yards on 3 catches and a touchdown. He had 4 targets, 3 catches, 100 yards and a touchdown. You got to sell. You might be able to sell him for a second because that Chiefs hype, and I think you do it because you see constantly these guys who go undrafted as rookie free agents. They just don't do much, man. Oh, I'm getting tired. It's 3 in the morning. I'm about to go to bed, but I wanted to do this for you because I love you, and I hope it makes your Monday better. I like the Andy Dalton pick. I think generally during the offseason you don't want to be rostering backup quarterbacks. However, I think Andy Dalton is the exception because Jameis Wilson might not be there for the start of the season. I think New Orleans knew that, and I think they signed Andy Dalton because of that. Now, the reason you don't want to have backup quarterbacks on your roster during the offseason, someone like Mason Rudolph, is because if something happens to both of the guys ahead of Mason Rudolph, but if something happens to the starting quarterback, generally the team is going to be bringing in someone they're going to coax Fitzpatrick out of retirement. They're going to trade for Jimmy G. They're going to trade for Baker Mayfield. They're going to do something to address that quarterback position instead of just handing the season over to a guy like Mason Rudolph like the Pittsburgh Steelers did. Pittsburgh Steelers aren't stupid, and they don't buy teams on a they don't spend draft capital on a lost season when Big Ben goes down like that. But a lot of NFL teams will do that type of stuff. So, cut Mason Rudolph. Does not need to be on your team. If there's a rookie running back that makes a team out of camp, he's got a better chance of doing something than Mason Rudolph. In the moment that rookie running back does do something, like think about this. Tony Jones last year. Do you remember that guy? He was kind of hyped up. This dude who got 142 yards, was running back 104, had 22 fantasy points on a season. This dude looked really good in preseason. He was hyped. You could have maybe gotten a future third-round pick. And Ray, with your squad, you're kind of looking to rebuild in the 2024-2025 season, and you're going to be targeting those those picks in the future because you're going to be getting them at a discount because people are going to be like, oh, you can give me a 2023 third for this guy. And they're like, oh, man, but those 2023 thirds, and like there's already some guys I'm eyeballing, and those third-round picks are going to be pretty decent in this good class. Or you can give me a 2025 second. Oh, 2025, that's like 3 years away. Great. And when the time comes, you're going to be stacked with cash. So get those running backs on your team that make the team after camp. They're going to flash in the preseason, and you literally sell them for anything. Anything. Because your goal isn't to have backup running backs on your team. Your goal is to get revenue. By revenue, I mean draft picks. Draft picks are cash in Dynasty football. And what you're going to be doing with those, you're going to take like 2/3 and get a late second. You're just going to slowly upgrade your team one pick at a time like that. You're going to take a guy like Tony Jones in a 4th, and you're going to get a 3rd-round rookie pick. That's how you're going to do it. Now, it's those microtransactions and that hustle that's going to lead you to the promised land. Let's get back to your team here. The reason that you sell Velus Jones and Khalil Shakir if they do something. Velus Jones and Justin Ross if they do anything. This is the reason. Your wide receiver room is pretty much just full of reasons to do that. Denzel Mims came in, really face planted his rookie year. 500 yards is like the minimum threshold that I'm looking for. If they don't get 500 yards, you need to sell them for whatever you can get. Even if they didn't get 500 yards because they were injured, I don't really care. You sell them for whatever you can get. Now, anytime you're in a rebuild, you're looking to package. You're going to take like Denzel Mims and a thing, and you're going to reach out and try and get like a 3rd-round pick, a 2nd-round pick, something like that. So when Denzel Mims proved he wasn't that dude for his rookie year, guess what happens his sophomore year? He has an even worse year because the depth chart got a little bit more crowded. Corey Davis got added. Elijah Moore got added. Braxton Berrios carved out a role. And you see this happen over and over and over again. Occasionally, the heavens part, and Marquez Callaway is your wide receiver 1 for a season. And he did okay. 700 yards, that's not bad. But it came off of a massive face-planting rookie season. And you know what happened? This year, he is buried behind Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Traquan Smith, and the Ohio State rookie whose name I still can't remember. Chris Olave. Came to me. And you know what? He's going to be lucky if he has 300 yards, and then he'll be absolutely worthless. So sell Marquez Callaway for like a 2025 4th if you can. Jalen Guyton. Let's take a look. 500 yards. Worst season. Probably going to be worse again this year as Josh Palmer takes a step forward. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Eckler, Kelly, Gerald Everett. They just signed Gerald Everett. It's a better tight end than they had last year than Jared Cook. I really don't expect Jalen Guyton to take a massive jump forwards. He did hit his rookie threshold that I need to see, but with the regression, you generally want to see progression, not regression, and he did play all 16 games. So this regression is a big signaler to me that the team doesn't see him as a solution, but rather a role player. Daz Newsome is no one. Just cut him. Like, you don't want a guy like Daz Newsome on your team because they already went out and acquired Byron Pringle. They already went out and acquired Equanimeous St. Brown. They already went out and acquired Velus Jones. If they thought Daz Newsome was that dude, they're not making these roster moves, right? Get rid of Daz. You will literally never start him. He will never become a wide receiver 2 for a team unless it's like a Marquez Callaway type of thing. And you really don't want to be clogging up your roster with guys like this. Anthony Schwartz, same thing. Scotty Miller, let's look at his career arc. 200 yards, a face-planting rookie season, sub 500. Comes out, a couple guys get injured, a roll, and the heavens parted, and a role gets carved out for Scotty Miller. That's going to be the best season of Scotty Miller's career, most likely. 9 targets last year. Like, the reason, and you're like, oh, well, he just got unlucky because that the GOAT wide receiver came to town and just booted him out of a starting job. Yeah, because if they thought Scott Miller could play football well at an NFL level, they wouldn't have gone out and signed a head case like Antonio Brown. Get him off your team. If you can get fab for Scotty Miller, do it. But he's nobody. He's absolutely nobody. They went out and got Russell Gage so that they wouldn't have to rely on Scott Miller. They got Rashad Perriman so they wouldn't have to rely on Scott Miller. Like, as bad of a season as Rashad Perriman just had, he's got double the targets of Scott Miller. Like, get him off your team. You don't need him. He's not a part of your. He's not a part of your. He's not a part of your starting roster. He never will be. Same for Schwartz, same for Newsome, same for Callaway. Most likely same for Guyton, maybe not. Frank Darby, who the hell is this guy? Get Furby out of here. Denzel Mims, get him out. Whatever it takes to get him out. Denzel Mims in a 4th for a, like, I would even do, like, Denzel Mims in a 2025 4th for a 2024 4th. I would smash that accept button. You could just, like, anything to just, like, kind of pull your assets from the future and, like, pull your winning window just a little bit closer. That's all these guys are really good for. Now, with your running backs, let's talk about Cook, Walker, Algier. Tyler Algier, he's got a great chance to flash this year. If he does, you fucking sell him immediately. Here's why. Elijah Mitchell, 6th round draft capital. Tyler Algier, 5th round draft capital. These late round guys don't have job security. James, I just tooted. Who's the Jacksonville running back? James something or other. I'm tired. Whatever. James something or other. Undrafted rookie free agent. Was lighting it up. God dang, what is his name? James. Not Connor. Every time I just keep going back to Connor. Robinson. Thank you. I'm sure you're screaming it in your car right now. Robinson. Undrafted free agent. Amazing rookie year. Amazing. And then you know what they go and do to the man? They go draft a running back in the 1st round. Promise you next year, the Falcons are not going to go into the season with Tyler Algier as their absolute solo starting running back. They will add a piece to complement or take over for Algier. So the moment that Algier shows something, you sell him to one of the idiots in the league for a 2nd. Pretty sure you got him in like the 3rd. Yeah, you got him in 308. Sell him for a 2nd. Profit. Velus Jones, you got him in the 4th. He does something, you sell him for a 3rd. Profit. Now, the holds for me are Kenneth Walker, because I do think he'll be in a timeshare with Rashad Penny, and I do think he's going to see a dip in value, but not in NFL value, just in fantasy value. This team is horrible. Kenneth Walker does not project to be a pass catcher. They're not going to be getting a lot of end zone carries. I think you're going to see Kenneth Walker have like an average of like 9 to 11 points per game. Like, that's bad. That's very bad. It'd be like RB 30 something. But I would hold him. I think he can be a part of your winning window. If he does start to pop off at his second year, I think that you could potentially sell him, as I think I think Seattle has shown that they would like to have a running back by committee by signing Rashad Penny and drafting Kenneth Walker. Now, to the moment he doesn't have that running back by committee, I'd sell him because I think they would be adding someone in the draft to committee up with him. Najee Harris, let's talk about Najee. I would be selling Najee. I'd be targeting Juan Solo here. Juan's got 2 first-round picks. One of them, Juan's got 2 first-round picks in 2023. One of them projects to be late from his team, and I think Jordan's got a much worse team than he thinks he does. I think Jordan overvalued youth and ended up with a timeshare Javonte Williams, timeshare Antonio Gibson, and timeshare Kareem Hunt as his running backs. So I think if you sell Najee to Jordan, suddenly, or if you sell Najee to Juan, I think it bumps Jordan down a little bit because it makes Jordan's team worse by comparison. And so you're probably looking at a late first with Juan's and a mid first with Jordan's. Hard to project that, but I'd be doing like these 2 firsts and a second. I'd also be okay with doing like 2 2024 firsts and a second for Najee, but you have to sell Najee this year because once he turns 25, the narrative on him is going to start to change. They're going to be talking about the amount of wear and tear that the Steelers have put on his body with having 300 attempts, 74 receptions. That's almost 400 touches his rookie year. Probably going to get a similar workload this year. They're going to start talking about aging running backs. They're going to start talking about his back, his knees, when's the bottom going to fall? When's the floor going to fall out? Sell Najee while you can. He was an old rookie, and before that narrative starts to happen, I'd rather always sell too early. He's not a part of your winning window. I see a mosquito. I'm going to kill it, Raymond. 1 second. Oh, bitch. Gotcha. Later. Anyways, sell him. Sell him for 2 firsts and a second, but I would be asking for 3 firsts to start. I think there are people that will be giving you 3 firsts. Absolutely. I bought Christian McCaffrey stupidly last year for 3 firsts. Someone will do it. I bet someone will do it. Let's talk about some of these backup running backs. Breida's a sell the moment he does anything. He's not a part of your winning window. Benjamin's a sell if he does anything. They've proven that they don't like him. Michael Carter is a hold until he proves that he can get fantasy points. Once he proves that he can still generate fantasy points to all the people that think that Brees just completely ganked his job, he is a sell because he's 23. He's not really part of your 2025 winning window. I don't think he's going to be out there putting up wide receiver or running back 2 numbers on his 26-year-old season as a pass catching specialist. Maybe, but unlikely. Carter's not a guy I'm just selling for anything. But Breida, Benjamin, those guys are absolutely pieces that I'm selling for literally anything. Get this trash off your team. Get Guyton, Newsome, Schwartz. Get them off your team for backup running backs because do you remember? I think we talked about Tony Jones. Tony Jones had so much hype last year. You could have sold him for a decent profit last year if you had sold him after the like if you just have a rookie who makes a team on your camp during the makes a team after camp during the preseason, they get a chance to showcase. Tony Jones showcased well. If you had sold Tony Jones for a 3rd rounder last year, you made a crazy profit and stuck some team with a completely useless trash back on their squad. That's why you get these guys that are never going to do anything off your roster. Start filling up with running backs who make teams during camp, and then start selling those running backs for 3rds and 4ths in the future, as far out as you can, if that's what it takes. I think you can sell Hawk because I think Hawkinson has been amazing. But Freiermuth just had a better rookie season than Hawk did. 79 targets compared to Hawk's 59. Yes, it was injury shortened. And Hawkinson just barely missed that elite 180 point PPR threshold that I'm looking for as a true breakout elite tight end. I think Freiermuth could absolutely get there. He hit 150 his rookie season. The signals are there that Pat Freiermuth could be a monster, potentially. Potentially. Now, shockingly, they're only like 1 year apart in age, but I think I'd be selling Hawk to someone who's a wide or a tight end needy team. Peter comes to mind. Getting the man to make a semi-reasonable trade is difficult. And I know it's difficult to make reasonable trades with you as well sometimes, Ray. But I think that Peter has shown in my other league, the Cocky Dynasty down here that you see, he doesn't super value his rookie picks. He doesn't also really super trade them much. I think he did deal his first round pick after he made the playoffs last year. So I think there's a decent chance that Peter makes the playoffs. So I think you just put a bug in his ear. Tell him, hey, look, I know that you need a tight end. And I'm looking to move Hawkinson. Peter's got a win in the future team that could potentially make the playoffs. Gronk's not really a part of his next year's of the 2023 season's playoff picture for him. But Hawkinson would be. It's a very attractive piece for Peter. I could see him moving on from Hawk for a 2023 first. And if he makes the playoffs and you sell Hawk, he'd probably sell you his first and second if you give him like a third in return. And I'd be slamming that. Here's why. I'm way low I'm so tired. When you're looking at the 2023 and 2024 classes, these classes are good, deep classes. This year, we saw one quarterback go here, and Pickett is actually being taken in most other leagues right around the 106. However, I wasn't super high on Walker, and I do actually really like Pickett. So I was honest with you. Pickett would not have made it to the 106 for you here. I would have let you have Garrett Wilson, and I would have taken Pickett. Now, and I really like Pickett. What was I saying? This coming season, these picks there's going to be like 3 or 4 quarterbacks taken in the first round. So it's going to end up looking like the running back 1 or QB 1 here. So it's RB or QB, RB or QB. Then it'll probably be QB, running back 2, QB 3, wide receiver 1, running back 3, quarterback 4, wide receiver 2, running back 5. So there's only probably 2, maybe 3 wide receivers going in this first round, which pushes guys like, imagine if Garrett Wilson was the 201. Sky Moore could be like the 204. Desmond Ridder would have in 2023 would be like a 4th round pick. Like the next year's class, because of the quarterback and running back depth, those wide receivers are going to get pushed so far down the draft board that getting those 2nd round picks in future seasons is going to be great. The 2023 class stacks up that way. 2024's class stacks up that way. Alec Pierce in the 3rd round. Like these 3rd round picks are going to be pretty good next year, because this class is just going to have a bit more top-end talent in the quarterbacks and running backs, which is going to push those wide receivers down because it's seen as a less valuable position because it's much less scarce. However, in our league, Ray, you're starting 3 wide receivers, 3 wide receivers. You're only starting 2 running backs here, and that's the optimal way to build your team, in my opinion, in this league, because wide receivers carry their production and their value longer. So if you can fill these flex spots out with wide receivers, you're in a great spot. Now, I think let's talk about your wide receivers really quickly, and then I'm going to let you go. Your wideouts, Raymond, are actually pretty good. You've got, I should say, like 3 pretty good wideouts. What am I doing here? I'm so tired. I got to go to bed soon. Michael Thomas, if he does anything, you sell him. If you can get a first for him, great. Even if it's 2025 first, you do it. If you can get a first plus, even better. Like if you can get a 2025 plus 2024 third, 2025 first, 2024 third, do it. But I would also take a 2023 second. I'd take a 2024 second for Michael Thomas, because if you're turning Michael Thomas into like a Sky Moore, bruh, that's profit. That's straight money in the bank for you. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some more wide receivers on your team. I got rid of it. There's back. Let's talk really quickly about what to do with CeeDee Lamb. There's a potential that if there's, the running backs are slowing down here in Dallas, there's a non-0% chance that like of the like 600, and because Dak missed a game here, I think it was Cooper Rush that filled in for him. Had what, 47 attempts? So yeah, there's about 650 attempts here. You know what? Let's calculator. Calculator. All right, so 650 attempts. If CeeDee Lamb gets 28% of that target share, that's not out of the. It's unlikely, but it's not out of the question. If he gets 28% of the target share, that's 182 targets. If he gets 182 targets, he could put up double-digit touchdowns. He could put up 15, 16, 1,700 yards. He could have a border. It's not outside of his range of outcomes to have a Cooper Kupp season. If he has a Cooper Kupp season, Raymond, I think you sell. If he has Cooper Kupp season, Cooper Kupp had 191 targets. So if he touches 30% target share, which I believe Kupp did, because Bradford 600 attempts. Yeah, that's really close to 30. That's like almost 33.33 continuing percent of the target share. Wow, God. If he has a Kupp type season, you sell him, because you almost never see those players repeat the next season. Because what's going to happen if that is the case in Dallas is going to look at their team and go, Gallup is good, but I was really nice when we had Cooper and CeeDee, and we had like two alphas, and they're going to go and they're going to get another receiver that's better than Michael Gallup at some point. So that 28% target share is not going to be there forever. Not every team is the Packers and hates their quarterback as much as the Packers hate Aaron Rodgers and give him no weapons. So like the value that you can get for Cooper Kupp, I think I got like Waddle and 2 firsts or something like that when I sold Cooper Kupp in the Cocky Dynasty over here. You can get a crazy return on a guy. And if CeeDee is as young as he is, coming off of that season, that type of season, the amount of return that you would get for CeeDee Lamb would be astronomical. And I know that he would not be repeating that the next year. And even if he did, you've already gotten the return as if he was going to be doing that for the rest of his career, when we both know that's very unlikely to happen. He might have one more amazing season sometime in his career if he does that, but it's not going to be a yearly thing, because he's probably not going to be the only target in a high-powered Dallas offense that's got 650 targets to throw around. But that's a hypothetical. Get rid of these guys, add running backs that make camp instead, sell them for fourths if they flash, and I like your ads here. I like your little squad, taxi squad, except for this guy. He's a waste of a pick. Get him the fuck off your team. Put a running back in his place. Any running back that makes a team. Yeah. If you want to take a shot on the Green Bay, like, this is a climbable depth chart, sure. I don't know who this guy is, but sure. You want to take shots on some of these guys, but Jerome Ford, great ad. Kennedy Brooks, good ad. More running backs, less wide receivers that are never going to crack your starting roster. Trade what you can for picks. Use those picks to upgrade. If you have 5 thirds, sell 3 of them, get a second. That's how you do it. Anyways, bedtime. Love you.